All right, so X22 reports and bats out of China. This coronavirus comes from them, and Harvard president's got coronavirus, and there's other people that have been arrested over this thing, starting this thing. Very interesting.
They just tested positive for coronavirus. And under this, it says brackets bold, rapid spread. Then gives us a link to the Epoch Times. And it says 21 million fewer cell phone users in China may suggest a high CCP virus death toll. China requires all citizens to register and use a cell phone. A decrease of 21 million users from the same time last year may indicate more deaths due to coronavirus than have been reported through official channels. So why did they do all this? Q explains. End POTUS rallies. End POTUS economy gains. End POTUS unemployment gains. End POTUS, brackets bold, ABCD, ... weaken prior to presidential election. That's in bold and brackets. It's exactly what we thought. This was an event that was pushed out there to do a specific task, to bring the world down, to shut it down, which Q has mentioned before. We'll be getting into that. So let me continue with the post. Delay U.S.-China trade negotiations. China prefers Biden, brackets bold, plus VB as president. So vice president as president. They want Biden. Shelter Biden public appearances. Shelter Biden debates. Keep him out of the spotlight because he's having a mental breakdown. Push new revised presidential 2020 vote by mail. Brackets bold, unsecure. We've seen this before. And Tom Fitton is the link that Q gives us, and it says, warning, leftists using pretext of coronavirus outbreak to push unsecure vote by mail. Free for all, no voter ID anywhere for 2020 election. How to steal an election. Q says, push D, wish list, unrelated item, coronavirus bill, voting amends. Then gives us a link to Senator Tom Cotton, and he breaks it down. Families and businesses need to help now to survive the China virus pandemic, but Speaker Pelosi walked away from negotiations to write her own bill, full of absurd provisions completely unrelated to the crisis at hand. Here's what Speaker Pelosi is demanding while Americans suffer.
Now, this is why you always follow the money. This is why this woman and others like her, I believe, need to be in jail for treason. Just that simple. The abuse of power and money continually.
What is the mathematical probability this occurs? The time bomb explodes at the exact point in time that allows the maximum damage. Corporate pay statistics by race and race statistics for all corporate boards at companies receiving assistance. Number 2, bailing out all current debt of Postal Service. Number 3, required early voting. Number 4, required same-day voter registration. Number 5, 10,000 bailout for student loans. Number 6, for companies accepting assistance, 1/3 of the board members must be chosen by workers. Number 7, provisions on official time for union collective bargaining. Number 8, full offset of airline emissions by 2025. Number 9, greenhouse gas statistics for individual flights. Number 10, retirement plans for community newspaper employees. Number 11, $15 minimum wage at companies receiving assistance. Number 12, permanent paid leave at companies receiving assistance. The Democrats see an opportunity in this crisis, not to help the American people, but to hold an emergency relief bill hostage until they get their radical wish list. How long will Arkansas and Americans across the country have to wait? This was all done to push their agenda. They don't care about the aid. They were trying to get everything that they couldn't get before right now. They're using the crisis to do that. And this was also creating a multi-billion slush fund for the elite and the corrupt politicians.
Multi-billion-dollar slush fund for elite and corrupt politicians. Of course, totally corrupt financial system, politics, sickening, treasonous.
If you really look through this, like on page 127, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which produces PBS, is handed an additional $300 million to prepare for a respond to coronavirus. Really? Where do you think this money's going to go? This money is going to be laundered and brought right back to them. Page 39. The Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, is given an additional $278 million under the Pelosi bill. Really? This is important right now. The bill gives another $42 million to enforcement category. What is that? And it goes on.
Corrupt politicians to the IRS, to media, to coming back to corrupt elite people. Goes on and on. They use this crisis to get their way of things they couldn't normally get. The Dems are traitors, and I'm sorry, but most of them need to be replaced or put in jail. It's not right. It's treasonous crap.
They were creating a slush fund. They were creating a way to launder this money and have all of it come right back into their pockets. Let me continue. Q says, above, prior to the presidential election, outside of standard deviation, who benefits the most? They do. Mueller failed. Impeachment failed. Why was it critically important impeachment be rushed in the House? Mainstream media, Deep Party, Hollywood narrative failed. The coup failed. And by the way, that's brackets all bold, caps. Deep Party, leading nominee, established, Super T, prior to lockdown takeover. Sanders eliminate Biden front. Occam's razor simply states that any given set of explanations for an event occurring, the simplest one is most likely the correct one. And it's exactly what we thought. Q just confirmed this. So right now, Pelosi completely caved and said she will not push this bill that she created. She's going to go with the Senate bill. Remember, she added $2.5 trillion for everything that we just talked about. That's what she was doing.
$2.5 trillion. Did she cave? Did she cave? She should be executed.
Now, very interestingly, James Woods seems to be on the same page as QAnon. And Heaven's Army tweeted this out. Interesting. James Woods tweeted this out. Unbeknownst to Harvard University beginning in 2011, Lieber became a strategic scientist at Wuhan University of Technology, WUT, in China. And if you look at post 3896, it says, unbeknownst to Harvard University beginning in 2011, Lieber became a strategic scientist at Wuhan University of Technology in China and was a contractual participant in China's Thousands Towns plan from in or about 2012 to 2017. And remember, this post was on March 23rd, 2020. When did James Woods tweet this out? March 23rd, 2020. Let's continue with Q's post. This is post 3897. This is a Twitter link, Representative Andy Harris, MD. It says, no voter ID to get a ballot and anonymous ballot harvesting. Why is that hidden in Speaker Pelosi's coronavirus bill? These are issues that shouldn't be addressed at this time. Q says, prevent Deep Party destruction by any means necessary. These people are sick. Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Then we move on to post 3898. Q gives us a link to the Daily Caller. This is Farrell. Spygate could make Watergate look like a third-rate burglary. Let me read a portion of this. The Spygate scandal is shaping up to be the most significant political abuse of government power in history, and it may be even larger than people expect. The investigation by U.S. Attorney John Durham into the origins of the FBI's Russian collusion investigation, or as President Trump prefers to call it, the witch hunt, continues to expand. Durham reportedly opened criminal investigations last fall, and unlike the narrow Justice Department Inspector General's review of the abuse of the Pfizer process, Durham is looking into the questionable activities of other government agencies, in particular the CIA and its former director, John Brennan. And it goes on about what Durham is doing. Under this, Q says, the key that opens all doors. U.S. Attorney Durham, his investigation of Pfizer abuse is the starting point. It's the door that once open is going to lead to many other doors. Think Epstein. Think about everything else that's been going on with pedophilia, you name it. And I know there's a lot of Hollywood.
Okay, so this Durham report where he's getting into other agencies, this Spygate thing, right? Q says this is the key that opens all other doors. Remember, they've got this watch thing that they've seen things in the future. They know what's happened in the past. And Durham is the key when he finds out that this Spygate is going to open all other doors. Wow.
Hollywood actors and actresses. A lot of people believe they're locked up right now. They are definitely putting out videos that are very, very strange. And what they're saying, sometimes when I listen to it, it seems like code. And they're talking and saying things that you normally wouldn't say during this type of an event, especially since they live in estates, mansions, they have servants, they have all these different things. Under this, Q says, the start. Now, very interestingly, in this post, it says the key that opens all doors. And that reminds me of post 3178. And this is March 25th, which is tomorrow, but this was 2019. And like I said, I've been following these posts, and they're definitely telling a story of what is about to happen. So this is what this post says. The only way to regain the trust, RE equal justice under the law, RE White House, RE Intel, RE FBI, RE Department of Justice, RE Senate, RE Congress, RE 5I, RE our government of the majority of the American people is to provide truth, transparency, and prosecution of all those who knowingly took part in this illegal manufactured effort. Attempted coup, and that's in bold brackets, caps, to take down the President of the United States. One, with a bracket.
Now notice, this is the key. Is this going to happen? I don't know. I sure hope so, but I don't know. Don't trust the government much. The elites are too powerful. It's a major problem.
Bracket bold. Now, the next line says bracket bold 1 opens the door, the Great Awakening. Now, this refers to the post Q just made. And what this means is the only way to regain trust in government is to provide truth, transparency, and prosecution. And if we go to post 3181, which is March 25th, 2019, yes, I know today's March 24th. I looked a day ahead because of what Q posted. And this is a picture of justice holding the scale with a sword held up high with a blindfold on. And it says, blind justice under the law will return to our republic. There is a reason why a sword is held. Q.
We end it here and go back to this just a second. Remember, Q has been talking about this stuff exactly 1 year previously, sometimes 2 years previously. I don't know how they're doing this exactly, but they know it. They know through that spyglass thing, through that time machine, this is what will happen. Durham is key to this, opening this door. Justice will be back. The truth will be exposed. People will be prosecuted. It's the only way to get the faith back in this system. That means a lot of politicians are going to be under trial. A lot of people in government are going to be in trial. How do you keep the government from collapsing or revolution starting? This is going to be done smartly, one way or another.
Then we go to post 3190. This is again March 25th, and it says, without a blockade shield, they are left vulnerable. exposed. So the shield is gone. This event is failing. They have nothing to protect them. Everything that Nancy Pelosi tried to do, it completely failed. And they are now vulnerable. And when I say they, it's the corrupt politicians, it's the deep state. They do not have that shield anymore. And that brings me to Dan Scavino Jr.'s Twitter post. And this is the hospital ship on the water sailing to Los Angeles. Now, we know that there's going to be another one heading towards New York. And this reminds me of Watch the Water. And I want to go back to post 765. It just says, watch the water. Now, once again, I'm thinking, if they're going to make arrests, where do they put the individuals? Where do they contain them? That's all I'm going to say at this point. Let me continue.
Now we got to remember that not only there's these two big ships, and I thought about them containing them too on the ships. This inspiration has come to me too, and I think it's possible. But I also got to remember that there are large barges, prison barges, that were released to Gitmo as well. So that plus these Red Cross ships, military ships, might be both prisons for both. So that may be a clue to watch the water in both those areas.
CJ Truth was looking through Dan Scavino's Instagram and noticed in his stories he had a picture, and many pictures, that said, "We will prevail." But in one of the pictures, it has "We will prevail," and on top it says Q. So Dan Scavino included this in his stories on Instagram. Now, I want to take us back through this timeline here. Hugh Glass on Gab laid all of this out, and it's very, very interesting. Took the calendar of March and April, took all the posts, and this is post 26, 497, 282, 34, 44, and 55. Now, when we look in March, it says marker start on March 11th. This is the global pandemic. And down below it says first marker done in 30. And if we look at post 26, it says think about it logically. The only way is the military, fully controlled, save and spread. Once 11.3 verifies as the first marker, which is really 311. Biggest advance drop on poll. Under this shows Trump's tweet, hoping to get the payroll tax cut approved by both Republicans and Democrats. And please remember, very important for all countries and businesses to know that trade will no way be affected by the 30-day restriction on travel from Europe. Now, this was on March 11th, and this post refers to March 11th, which is the first marker, which is March 11th. Then we have on March 16th, 15 days. Remember, Trump has continually been telling us on March 16th, 15 days to slow the spread. So we have one count starting on the 12th and counting 30 days. We have the second count of 15 days. So we have two counts going on, and the second count starts on the 16th. Just remember that for a second. So 15 days to slow. If we go to post 497, it says good brackets win, when brackets 15. So the 15 matches up with the 15 days. Win matches up with Trump's post on March 17th. And it says, the world is at war with a hidden enemy. We will win. So then we take when. Remember, in post 497, it says when. When is this going to happen? Well, in post 282, and we read this before, and Anon says, I have a question. The 10 days darkness, when? Q answers shutdown. 10 days of darkness. So the 10 days start after the 15 days are over. So if we look at this, the 15 days started on the 16th. If we count, the 15th day is the 30th. The 10 days of darkness starts on the 31st. When does the 10 days end? On April 9th. Remember that. Then we go to post 34. Now, remember, there's another marker, which is on April 11th. Where do we get that from? Well, we read this post once before. Let me just read the part. It says, on POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is stated to occur on March 11th, that's the global pandemic, upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable on April 11th. Confirmation to the public. So April 11th is the marker. So let's backtrack for a second here. We have the 15 days, which started on March 16th, and it ends on the 30th. The 10 days of darkness go from the 31st of March all the way to the 9th. The 10th is something completely different. That's post 44. The 10th, by the way, is a Friday. Before POTUS departs on Friday, he will be sending an important message via Twitter, God bless. Then we go to post 55. Look to Twitter exactly this. My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. God bless. And Q continually tells us that this is going to be biblical. Then we go back to the first marker, which started on March 11th. 30 days ends up on the 10th. So those are the 30 days. We have the 11th, where the public is going to be made aware of what has happened. We can expect riots. We can expect people to be upset. We can see a breakdown in certain individuals. Let me continue. So that gives us that timeline. And then POTUS today came out and said this: I would love to have the country open back up by Easter. Take a listen to what he said.
I'd love to have it open by Easter. Okay, I would love to have it open by Easter. I will tell you that right now. I would love to have that. It's such an important day for other reasons, but I'll make it an important day for this too. I would love to have the country opened up and just raring to go by Easter.
So it seems that by Easter, which is a very important day, not just because it's Easter, this is when he wants everything to be opened up again. Now, we know that Q in the past has told us that the first indictment to be unsealed will trigger mass population awakening. And Major Patriot said this on Twitter: what if we find out that Americans at the highest levels of our government were complicit in the release of this virus in Wuhan in order to affect the 2020 election? Bigger than the 25th Amendment attempt to remove. Depth of this is very serious. Q. Well, this brings us back to post 3760.
Let's go back here because I think this account is very, very important. So we're talking 30 days since the 11th, which brings it to the 10th. And the 9th is the end of some other things that are happening. We've got 10 days of darkness on the 9th ending, and the first day of darkness on the 31st. So I was off there by a day. And then the 10th, some things opening up there and exposed. The 10 days of darkness have ended on the 9th. Some other things that come out on the 10th. The 11th is showing an arrest of someone, and something else is going to be shown. And there's going to be major problems before Easter, and then Easter is the 12th. So the 9th, 10th, and 11th are key days. Unreal. Then we get back into this military guy saying, what happens if these things were done at the highest levels of our government, complicit to release the virus in Wuhan in order to affect the 2020 elections? Unreal.
Now, that Americans at the highest levels of our government were complicit in the release of this virus in Wuhan in order to affect the 2020 election. Bigger than the 25th Amendment attempt to remove. Depth of this is very serious. Q. Well, this brings us back to Post 3716. First indictment unseal will trigger mass population awakening. First arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. They will fight, but you are ready. Marker 9. And then I want to bring us to Post 153. Let me just read it to you. This is November 14th, 2017.
Stop this for a second. I got to think around my head around this. This is mind-blowing. Wow. So high official leaders help conspire to do this and to destroy the country by 2020 to get rid of Trump. What a war. What a war.
For the coming days ahead, ask yourself an honest question. Why would a billionaire who has it all, fame, fortune, and a warm, loving family, friends, etc., want to endanger himself and his family by becoming POTUS? Why would he want to target himself and those he cares about? Does he need money? Does he need fame? What does he get out of this? Does he want to make the U.S. world a better place for his family and for those good and decent people who have long been taken advantage of? Perhaps he could not stomach the thought of mass murderers occurring to satisfy Moloch. Perhaps he could not stomach the thought of children being kidnapped, drugged, and raped while leaders, law enforcement of the world turn a blind eye. Perhaps he was tired of seeing how certain races, countries, were being constantly abused and kept in need, poor, and suffering, all for a specific purpose. Perhaps he could not in good conscience see the world burn. Why, hours after the election, did 7 people travel to an undisclosed location to hold a very private and highly secured, guarded meeting? Why didn't Hillary Clinton give a concession speech? When was the last time a presidential candidate didn't personally give a concession speech? What happens if the border remained open and the mainstream media continued to brainwash? At what point do patriots and hardworking men and women become the minority? What about voting machines? Who owns the voting machines? What about voter ID laws? Photo ID? When is it necessary and must be presented? Make a list, laugh, reconcile. Would the chances of defeating evil grow less and less with each passing year? What does red line mean? Why again were the arrests made in Saudi Arabia so very important? What strings were immediately cut? Follow the money. When does a bird sing? Now that is very interesting because we heard that before. And we heard that birds sing in the spring. But I'm going to tell you something else. Rose Kennedy actually told us when birds sing. Birds sing after a storm. Why shouldn't people feel as free to delight in whatever sunlight remains to them? This is what she said. I do believe the birds are going to sing after the storm. And I'm going to tell you something else that's very interesting. All these individuals, Hollywood actors, the corrupt politicians, those invisible enemies hiding behind the curtain because a lot of people don't know who they are, their time has come. We are seeing so many different messages from everywhere that something is about to hit. I don't believe that Trump and the Patriots just went along with this event, allowed it to play out, if they didn't have a specific agenda and use it for a specific reason. And the dates and the times and everything, they all seem to fall in place. Now, again, this is just an interpretation. This is not what Q is saying. This is Anons looking at this, coming together and trying to make sense of it. And it seems that Trump putting out these messages, Dan Scavino putting out these messages, seeing Hollywood actors and actresses putting out strange messages, putting out messages where they're afraid that just listen to the smart people, just do what they're telling you to do. Why are they so panicked? I've been speaking to many people. They don't seem that panicked. I go to the supermarket. Those people don't seem that panicked. Why are these individuals who have it all, money, fame, estates, why are they so panicked? Or it is a different type of panic. I do believe the Patriots are in control. I do believe there's a major operation coming up. And I do believe the Patriots, after all of this, they're ready to bring the whole damn thing down. And I do believe it's going to be biblical. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and
we'll see. So the 9th, 10th, and 11th days of April are going to be biblical, I believe. Wow. Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. This is why I love this guy and his information. Incredible. Good day.